Welcome, everyone. It is 4:30 on July 20th, 23. This is also a remote participation Zoom meeting. It's a public meeting being recorded for cable broadcast and internet posting on YouTube. Call to order.
Patrick McGovern, present.
Joanne Wilson, present.
Paul Chico, present. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And one nation under God, indivisible, justice for all. Elizabeth, would you like to read polls? Where are we at? Where are we comfortable?
Good afternoon. Nurse Nicole couldn't make it this evening, so she sent me a report to read. This month, she attended a Zoom presentation for Project Opiate, using new resources to solve opioid crisis. She didn't come away with any new resources. She's seen an increase in tick-borne illnesses in the town of Dayton from the Maven reporting. In response, she created a Facebook post on the town's Facebook page. The highway department deployed a message board to alert residents, and Elizabeth updated the town website with resources. She presented at Lincoln Village for the hands-only CPR education session. Had a great turnout and was always a pleasure. She continued to have monthly blood pressure clinic at prime time. For August, there will not be a clinic though. This month's contribution to the Strawberry Vine was about foodborne illnesses, which we always see an increase with summer months. Healing Community Studies helped us hold another Narcan training at the town hall. Lastly, I'll be starting next month's Nurse Nikki's book club. I'm partnering with the library to hold the book club every other first Tuesday of the month. It helps with meeting more residents. The first book is Beach Read by Emily Henry. Department request. I have started to attend a lot of events where having a tablecloth identifying either public health nurse or that I am a part of the Board of Health would be helpful. Is this a purchase that the board would approve? Maybe something.
We can bring it into unexpected business.
Okay. Add that in. That's all.
In case I forget. And Jim.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Well,
Dayton. The first chance I've had to address the board since we made some changes in staffing and procedure. So I'm excited to tell you that things in the department are working very well. We continue to stay busy. I want to say Office Manager Marrera is doing an excellent job. Things could not be the way they are without you. So thank you. That said, we remain busy. We had 6 perk test requests since we last met. 4 of those occurred without incident. 1 was canceled by the engineer. 1 was canceled by me because they did not have conservation approval when they were planning on perking in wetlands. We've had 3 permit submittals, plan submittals rather. 1 of those went out for review today. 2 of them went out to our review engineer, Gerald Bernard, and will return within, I believe, 2 or 3 days with a full comment letter, which clearly stated what was found during the review. None of the plans were rejected. However, some of the plans had comments that were worthy of discussion with the engineer. So in hearing the board's concerns in the past, I then authored a letter which extracted some of the line items from the review engineer's report and sent that to the engineer and the property owner. So the property owner was aware of the status of their plan review and permit. There were a couple of local upgrade waivers that were required for those. As the interim health agent, I'm authorized to issue those, so I did. They were all compliant with Title V. So that same letter indicated authorization. And in one case, a permit was able to be released. The other one, we still have a little bit of work to do before we can release it. That said, there were permits that were already issued for septic installations. Those septics are going in. I would say there was at least a half a dozen, maybe 5. And I personally conducted about a dozen on-site inspections. I chose not to use a per diem inspector for a specific reason. I wanted to shake hands with the installers, with the property owners, let them know that we were rearranging the tricks of the board and the health department in particular. And I can tell you it was well received. Everybody was happy that, I introduced myself, and most people knew who I was, but it was good public relations for the health department. We have something that'll be on the agenda tonight regarding the bags. That's something that we have to iron out tonight. So hopefully the board is willing to do that. We are running low. Mrs. Marrera and I quantified the amount of bags remaining, and we're at a point where we need to make a decision.
That was possible.
Bags ordered, so.
Possible.
Going forward, I intend to rely on per diem inspectors a little more than I am currently, because it's taking me away from other things in the office that could be done. But I thought it was prudent to meet some of the installers and let them know how things were going to be moving forward. So I've heard nothing but praise. I've heard no conflicts or complaints. I checked with the selectmen prior to this meeting. They have not heard any complaints. If you have, please share them with me, because I'd like to know.
I haven't heard any complaints.
No,
No.
they're fine. No.
Okay.
Sounds like you're handling things quite well.
Yes, we are.
Thank
We
you.
are. Yeah, I couldn't do it without Elizabeth, so.
Great.
Yeah. So I obviously, things will sort of be in this pattern until we fill the position permanently. I know that's on the agenda, so I won't take that from you, but once we get these positions filled, then we can figure out how things will evolve from there. But for right now, it's prioritizing, do what's needed to keep the operations going. We know that we have a lot to do. Online permitting is important. I frankly, I can't do anything with that right now, but we'll do our best in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Jim?
Thank you.
Ms. Ferry?
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay. All right, old business, to review, discuss fact, the posting of the job of the health agent and the posting of the job for the health department director. Did you hear anything from Sharon?
I reached out to Leanne this afternoon, and we've had one application submitted for the health agent,
Okay,
nothing for the director yet.
okay. And so everything is posted?
Yes, it's been posted, and it will go for till the end of the month.
Okay, good. Any discussion? on-
I believe it's August 2nd.
August 2nd.
It's August 2nd.
Oh, because that's a Monday, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Any discussion?
No. Once we get closer, we'll set some dates and times and.
Yeah.
Get her done.
All right. All right, the new business to review, discuss that, as Jim just mentioned, the pay as you throw bag order. You wanna fill us in on what you and Elizabeth have been working on?
Yeah, I think Elizabeth and I can probably speak of this, because Elizabeth made most of the phone calls. So as I said earlier, we are running low on large trash bags. We have more smalls remaining than large. We reached out to vendors. We received some bids to put the full bag order in for what we hope would last an entire year. However, we have not received all of the bids back yet, and that deadline runs through next Thursday, correct? So we would really like to hold off on the full bag order until then. However, we are in somewhat of a critical stage. We do need to order large trash bags. So with that, Elizabeth made a call to our current vendor. And
You had stated there's a minimum bag order, so to get an order of large, we would have to order at least 78 cases. And small, we would have to order 134. It goes by weight.
Okay,
So that's the minimum we could buy, just to get us not to run out.
so we did some math. I think your question is, how long will that get us?
Well, how much we have left and I guess.
So just doing quick rough numbers, it looks like we have enough small with the current stock. If we place the bag order large for 78, it will get us 4 months down the road. we'll probably be running out of both at about the same time. Obviously, we won't wait 4 months to reorder, but it will allow us to get at least past next Thursday. We can meet at the next regular meeting, go over the bids, discuss who the next vendor should be. Maybe it'll be the current vendor, we don't know. Because we did reach out to some new companies this time around.
They need lead time to do them anyways, if we selected a new vendor anyways, right?
The lead time with Mansfield is 3 to 5 weeks.
Okay.
And also,
Sorry.
what, he said he's gonna send you an extra
Yeah,
box.
I had mentioned that we've heard of some complaints that the bags are ripping, so he's gonna send me some extra, and if anybody has, bags ripping, to bring in the bags, and we'll replace their roll.
Is there any way to have that put on like the town's Facebook page or the town's website or something? Because I've seen one complaint on Facebook with somebody saying it. And then Nicole had mentioned it in email that she noticed it, but we can't fix it and can't change vendors unless we know, like I wouldn't know if I weren't, like, if I were a regular homeowner, I would never know to bring the bags to the Board of Health that ripped. You know what I mean? Like, is there a way we can say like, we have customers experience ripping bags? If you do, please contact the Board of Health for a replacement
Yeah.
or something.
I was gonna say, I've only been contacted by one resident. Everything else I'm hearing is about somebody telling me second.
Right, and I've never had it happen to me. But I mean, Nicole had it happen. I saw one Facebook post like 6 months ago. I saw one recently. But like, is there a way that we can see if we can put on like the town website and like a Facebook post or something, just so people know what to do? Because I would think to go back to like Rochelle's or something, or wherever I got it from.
Website.
Sorry.
And it's been,
been probably about 6 or 7 in the last couple of weeks on
Oh.
Facebook.
Okay.
Every time I see it, I do tell them to come to the Board of Health.
Oh,
So we need to know, so we can do what we need to do to maybe replace, do a different vendor or anything. I'm surprised only one person contacted me, because I've had 6 or 7 that I've seen.
I mean, my thought is, and I don't, when I saw it, I'm just kind of spitballing possibilities and, maybe it's because of the way they're stored and we're getting down to the last
Well, I
couple
thought that.
pallets. And I mean,
even six.
plastic is plastic and it's gonna sit for a little while and some of it could deteriorate. You know what I mean? Like it could just be the storage and it could just be the fact that we're getting down to the bottom of it.
Yeah, the other thing that I don't know of is there's a thing called stock rotation. We had leftover bags from the previous order. That means these bags are 2 years old.
That's
I don't know that for sure. And Tom Ferry, I'm sorry if you do rotate stock, I'm sorry, but we need to make sure that we're doing that. Because as we get to the end, as you know, the new order comes in, it's very easy to get some cases that left behind.
I don't think that, it could be the seal on the bags, but that seems to be the big problem with plastic, that it doesn't deteriorate. No matter what.
Yeah, but I mean, it could just be the seal itself, like the seal could be just.
Right, it could be getting too hot in the container.
Right.
Like Jim said, we should rotate it.
Maybe some people are just stronger than they think when they rip it off,
Yeah, and we should have them bring in the roll that they have.
Right, I mean, if people bring it in, we replace it, right?
Yeah, they bring it
Yeah.
back.
And it should go back to the manufacturer and they should credit us a roll or
Yeah,
something.
the manufacturer wants
They're gonna give us a case ahead of time.
the bad roll. So
Oh, yeah.
everybody at home listening, you need to bring the roll in. We're not saying that you're not experiencing a problem. We want to make sure the manufacturer knows what the issue
Yeah.
is. So,
And if they want the business, they'll replace the broken bag. Whether it's a rotation stock issue or not, like it shouldn't be an issue.
right.
And when we get the bids in, we need to make sure that the other vendors are willing to do the same.
Right.
Stand product.
Yeah.
So we would really like the board to move to allow us to order the minimum order that our current vendor will allow for large trash bags. So that we can get that order in immediately. And then that will buy us a few months where we can vet the new vendors and the new bid round that we did. So that we can order our full order in earnest at the next regular meeting, which will be next month.
Can I get a motion to order the minimum for the large bags?
I motion to order the minimum order that the vendors require to get us through till the next time we have to order.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that carries.
I also had in the packet, one of the vendors that we solicited to the quotes to. declined putting in a bid.
Hmm.
So we're only gonna be getting 2 bids. I don't know if you want me to try to find some more vendors or,
No, I mean, technically you only need to reach out to 3 for public stuff. And if one rejects, I'm assuming that counts as one.
And also, when we're talking about the bags, the contract with the vendors, we have a problem with Hannah that we're looking at like $50,000 possibly they owe us.
What?
Was it explained better to you?
when the vendors request cases to sell at their locations, I send them the cases and an invoice is attached with their order. And good faith, usually they, by the time they get their next order, they pay for the previous one. So in most cases, the vendors are either on time or behind by one invoice. Now, coming into the role, there was quite a few invoices I was missing from Hannaford, so I went through all of Rosalind's deposits, I went through all of Nancy's deposits, and I could not find about $50,000 worth of payments made to bags that we delivered to Hannaford's. I reached out to Hannaford's, and since I've started, I've been trying to get somebody to either produce me a report that I can verify, you know, their payments, or their suggestion was to get into their system and I could do all the pulling reports myself. Now, I've been back and forth trying to get into the system. They gave me a login and I try to log in, it tells me I don't have access. So I called their IT department and that was over a week ago. I still haven't heard back from them. So at this point where, according to my records, they're $50,000 behind.
And they're also our largest seller. So the most of our bags are going to them and we're not getting paid for them. So
Have we like involved the town accountant in like
I've asked if they
deposits and
reduce deposits and they don't keep track of that.
So just so everyone knows, this isn't open-ended. We are gaining on it. The problem is Hannaford's was bought out through this process. So these open invoices go back all the way to 2022. They've been outstanding for a very long time. Somewhere in between, and I don't know the exact date, Hannaford's Corporation was bought out by a larger company. We think that probably the issue occurred about that time. Only the health department unfortunately didn't keep up with the outstanding invoices. Credit to Mrs. Barrera, when she came in, she saw this negative and went through it. And the spreadsheet that she put together is extremely detailed. I'm comfortable with what we have is correct. The problem is the vendor needs to now show us what they have, and then we'll put the two together and figure out where the problem is. I can tell you we're not off by 50,000. If we're off, we're only off by a small amount. So the fact remains, Hannaford's is in arrears an exceptional amount of money.
Right.
So as sooner or later, we're gonna have to make a decision whether or not this vendor should be shut off.
well, I'm thinking, I would like to hear a motion that we do that now, seeing how we are at a very low inventory of bags. And we have to order them and that'll get their attention.
well, so where do we stand? Like, are they still owing us more? Are they paying for the stuff that they're currently getting?
They're paying for
Like, where do we, is this like a lump sum of money that is missing from the past and they're still paying now?
doing all the research. I noticed that when they went from Delhaize to Ahold, Delhaize cut them, credited them like a large amount. And then it was just odd. I have a picture of a photocopy of it downstairs. So I think when they changed hands from companies, they gave that debt to the other company, so they credited themselves that debt. So it looks like they gave us a credit of I think it was $28,000. So it's all in that period from when they switched hands within that company. Since then, they've paid pretty much maybe 3 invoices behind. They'll send them a check.
But
But that month of July of 2022 into early September, there's a lot of missing payments.
I mean, before we shut them off, I mean, if they're up to date now and they changed ownerships and stuff like that. If our books are up to date and our deposits are up to date and everything's up to date, I would just send them a bill and say you have 90 days to pay this or we're going to seek legal action. And just leave it, and then if they don't respond, then shut them off. You know, I mean, I wouldn't shut them off right away if they're our largest seller. I would, you
As
know.
far
I
as,
sent it to the local location and they told me that they would forward it to headquarters.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't think, I mean, so when you said you're logging in, are you logging into Hannaford's system?
Try.
Okay, I would just say no. I would just say, this is our books. This is what we have. If you want to dispute it, you give me the paperwork. It's not, I don't think it's up to you I mean, I appreciate you 100% doing all the work. But I think that it needs to, we have our paperwork in order and we know where the money is, or we know what we're thinking. I think we need to send them a bill and just say you have 90 days to pay this bill, or
So
will be shut off. Or, yeah, or show proof of payment or we'll be forced to shut you off from selling bags.
there's a lot of other vendors that sell the bags, so the residents won't go without. I mean, the town of Dayton vendors will appreciate it because they'll have more business.
Right.
But it will be, people go grocery shopping and get their bags, so.
And you can pay with your credit card. I think you can pay with your credit card at Hannaford's. I don't think you have to give them $20 cash.
I mean, I get bags wherever, I always get a grocery store, to tell you the truth. But you can pay them with a check, you can pay them with groceries, where if you go into under the sun or someplace like that, they want cash.
Right.
Not everybody has. Most people need trash bags at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock.
The day before.
Realizing they didn't have any bags. So it's kind of hard to be able to do that. It's very easy to do. It's not that I'm saying you shouldn't recoup the money. I'm just saying to shut
Yeah.
them off. A lot of people will be mad at town.
Right, and I 100% agree. Like, I'll run to Hannaford's and grab a couple things just to get a roll of trash, and there was a place in Somerset that will let you use your credit card if you're over $20 or something. So, I mean, I would go there over a cash one because I never carry cash.
Elizabeth, I have a question. Is there some place that you can send that bill that Patrick was talking about other than the local Hannaford's?
I can send it to the check address where I get the checks from, I can mail it.
And that would be part of this new company that took over, correct? Okay, I think that might be a good idea.
I would also recommend, I don't know where we stand with like a town lawyer and stuff like that, but have we roped in like Mike Mullen or the like a legal counsel?
But I wanted to make sure my numbers were accurate, so I did the whole spreadsheet twice in 2 different forms, and it was the same both times, so I told Mike about it, I said, let me just double check.
It kind of boggles my mind that the town doesn't have the deposit slips from
I thought
2 years ago. Like, I thought you had to keep public records for 7 years.
That was one,
the money that we're getting in now, we shouldn't consider them being current, because any check that we get from them should be going towards the old century.
Well, I would just, honestly, I would freeze that section of money. Like, I would just keep that aside and continue taking off what they currently owe. And that way, that number stays that number, because
Right.
if it becomes a legal issue, at least that number stays that number.
I was explaining to Jim, the problem with their payments is their payments come with an invoice number. So if I take this payment and pay an older invoice number and tell them you owe this invoice, they're gonna say, no, I don't, here's the check.
Right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that.
I would just stick to doing with I mean, you know how to do it from your past days. I would just stick with the invoice number to the invoice number, and that way
That's how they pay, so that's
Yeah,
how they're gonna.
I
prove it.
wouldn't change it.
So I need to tell them, you owe me for these invoices back in 2022.
Yeah.
So can I make a motion that we send a letter to Hannaford stating the amount that they are in arrears and a 90-day time frame for that payment? Or we will no longer use them as a vendor?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'll second that.
Okay.
Sorry.
Aye.
Aye, sorry.
Okay,
and I was gonna try to interject for discussion. Would you like that letter to come from me or from the board? And I also think it would be wise for you to copy the local manager of the Hannafords.
Yeah.
So that he or she is understanding that this is going to affect the sale of trash bags at your establishment.
And that it's now gone.
It might be
to the next
better.
level.
Right,
I might think it might be better coming from the board,
okay,
I agree.
3 of us signing it. And
Okay.
it's a little bit more, and I would CC Mike Mullen and the town lawyer in that too, just so they're aware, because I mean.
And maybe the
significant-
accountant. Maybe the accountant.
The accountant too. It's a significant amount of money.
so I'll draft a letter and then Elizabeth can circulate it and then we'll come with a final draft and then we'll get it signed.
the only thing is CCing the town attorney without letting Mike Mullen notify we could get a bill and then we're not supposed to be using any attorneys.
Oh, then it should go to the Board of Selectmen, right?
Right.
Yeah, so they should go to Mike Mullin, the
Right,
Board of
send it to
Selectmen,
Mike Mellon, it's like,
and the accountant, and just, and then if they want to push it to legal, they
as
can.
soon as the attorney opens up the mail, he's gonna send a bill to read.
That's the job I need. I would read more mail.
Thank you for clarifying that.
I'll get that draft done next week and send it out. Elizabeth will send it out. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
Do we get a second on that one?
We did.
Yes. Now, the review act, or discuss act, increase fee for temporary food permits. We're losing money on it. And we process it. I don't know when the last time, we went up on the fee. Jim, do you have any knowledge of?
I'm not aware. Actually, in the heading on this fee schedule, it says they were effective 2019. So I'm gonna say the last revisions, although I don't know what was revised, was in 2019.
Yeah, the PowerPoint I was going off, that's PowerPoint, the Excel sheet that I was going off of when I kind of gave that recommendation. It said Todd and Roz's recommendations for 2019, so it might have even been before that.
The paper I printed offline, when you go online to look on our website, is dated 2018 and it has a fee of $35 still.
Okay.
So, I think with the price of everything going up, with, as an example of the Couch Festival, we charge $35 for a permit. We pay $35 for a spectacle.
Right, but like I mean, for the Couch Festival, for example, how many permits did we sell that? Was it one for the whole festival or was it like 10 for all the vendors?
Eight of them, right? Yeah,
So I mean, that kind of makes sense. You're 8 vendors times 35 and you're only paying per person.
No, we pay the inspector per vendor.
Right.
Oh, okay.
yeah, okay, so what,
Per inspection.
Okay.
You pay the per diem inspectors is per inspection.
Okay, yeah, then we definitely need to go up on.
my suggestion is we double it. We go to 70.
The town of Berkeley charges $100 for their temporary
I
food.
was gonna say, do we know what? other-
Somerset charges 25. So it's kind of wide open.
So 70 wouldn't be unreasonable.
Yeah, I'm for it.
I think that's fine.
Yeah,
You have a
Yeah.
motion?
I motion that we raise the temporary food permit to,
Could you just hold on one
Yeah.
second? Before you do
did
that,
we, is this take into account is that, I mean, we're talking about the food permits going up, but we had discussions about all the fees going up.
right,
I'm not ready to make any recommendations on the entire fee structure.
Okay.
We just felt that this one, besides septic permits, this is the next highest permit count that comes out of the office. Feel that we need to do something with this right away, and the chairman echoes that. So that's why it's on here for today.
Yeah, no, that's the only question I had, because if we're gonna do it all, might as well do it all at once, but
right. But
if we
I
need
mean,
to
these-
break it up, then we'll break it up.
There's also a note on the back that is a re-inspection. We pay another additional $35 for a re-inspection, but the note is saying that they get one free re-inspection.
Yeah,
That's the only reason I.
no, we can get rid of that.
Yeah, and it's not only going up on the permit, we gotta go up each day. It's $20 per day, which I don't really understand how that works out. Maybe you guys can enlighten me. It says $20 a day with a maximum of 7 consecutive days, which would be 140. And we have a 35, we get 165. How much is it to have the permit for the entire year? There's only
125.
125 of this retail food store for
So if we,
retail food store or retail food service establishment. So that's 125. So why would we even have a maximum of 7 days?
well, so if we take the Cow Chick Festival, for example, so if that's multiple days, does it get inspected every day or is it just
No.
once?
It's up to the inspector whether it gets inspected more than once.
Okay, historically, do we know what we have done?
This particular season, we did them once.
And it would only be needed to be redone if they found something wrong.
Right.
Okay, so why don't we can we just change the wording to the $70 for per inspection? And then if if the health agent determines a re-inspection is necessary, it's the same cost.
Right.
You know, it's-
I think that's reasonable. So we go
we're
to,
not gonna have anything in town that's 7 days.
no, but we might have people that, canteen trucks that come in, so they want a 1 year permit.
Yeah,
So,
they would just, if
and they don't get.
they want to
inspected.
come in every day for a month during the summer, whatever, they should just get a yearly permit.
Right.
Most of those vendors do get annual permits.
So we should go with the 70 and then $70 for every re-inspection,
Yeah. That's seen fit by the health agent.
Okay,
So
Joanne,
then, what will we do for the days after the first day?
I think that'll take care of itself because,
I mean, if historically we've only done like multi-day events, if historically we've only done one inspection, then just leave it at one. And if
Are
the
they-
health agent.
I guess what I'm asking is this temporary food permit for the vendor to be able to set up and sell food? So this is $70 for the first day that they're there. Then do they pay additional permit fees for each day after that?
yes. And so it'd be $70 for the first day, $20 a day after that. But that's,
But if you have to go back because they fail an inspection, it's a re-inspection fee of the original inspection amount.
right.
Okay, I think that clarifies
And
it.
what I was gonna say, why that would take care of itself, because most people are gonna look at it and say, well, if I'm gonna be doing it for 5 days, that's $100 plus 70. It's cheaper for me to get the 1 year permit. Now, on the 1 year permits, how often do we do the inspections?
Well, obviously there's an initial, but then there are repeat inspections. I asked for a report from the previous health agent and there was no consistency. I'm going to guess that it was depending on who the actual food establishment was, whether or not they needed more visits than others. I can tell you that at $125, I wouldn't send an inspector there more than twice. Now,
How many permits do we have right now? Do you know?
I believe we have 4.
4-year-long permits
Right.
right now?
Right, I could be wrong, but it's not much more than that. Now, if we have a repeat offender, if there's a problem and the health agent feels they need to go back more often, well, then they should be given a fine.
Mhm.
Well,
I'm wondering why this isn't a higher fee,
I think,
the yearly.
I think to your point, it may be,
Uh,
but honestly, I haven't vetted it enough to make a recommendation to you.
Okay,
So instead of, and I agree that this is important because we need to get the local receipts right, but I haven't been able to spend that much time on it.
okay.
I don't want to just pick a number. I want to pick a number that works.
I just don't want to pick a number too low for the temporary food permit based on what somebody's paying for a year. If we may change that later on.
We may. We may.
If we think that's low,
is the food service establishment permit the same as temporary, meaning that if a vet gets out of the trailer and he wants a full year permit,
Yes,
classified like a restaurant?
yes. There are some food catering trucks that do have a full year permit. Yes,
There's a mobile food truck permit.
And
there is.
the part that gets a little sticky is if it's a safety issue, it's a health issue. And the inspector goes in and finds something wrong. It shouldn't be just a fine, it needs to be corrected immediately.
Well, yes, but I'm talking about because we may, and I don't know where the department's going to lead. If we end up with per diem inspectors, we have to have the money to pay those inspectors. Just like if we have a health agent who works hourly, we should be recouping some of those hourly wages through the fee structures because they're getting the service.
Right now, we're not, because when we when we sell the permit, the money goes to the general budget, not to us.
Right.
And then we pay for the inspector. So on our budget, it still costs us money.
Yeah, but
In general, the town makes a little bit What's the
Well,
price?
the taxpayer benefits because the local receipts, if the local receipts can offset the operating costs, then the taxpayer benefits.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. But to Joanne's point, I think it's worth at least a little bit more discussion because if we do establish, and this is one of the reasons why I don't want to change this much until it's fully vetted, because then you're going back and revisiting things.
Right.
But right now, we know that this is drastically low. Maybe where there's a little more discussion about maybe it should be more than $70, knowing that eventually we're going to adjust the other ones to a higher amount. Once I quantify what it costs. Don't forget too, we should be factoring soft costs as well.
Right.
In my department, my minimum fee for a permit is $75 because that's what it costs to inspect it once and have my office manager touch it and myself touch it. So I want to make sure that the person needing the permit pays for that permit, not the taxpayer. And a simple analogy is if Joanne does a roof, you shouldn't have to pay for that permit. She's doing the roof.
Right.
Same thing here. So maybe it should be higher than 70.
Discussion?
I like discussing this, but I think, is there a reason why it needs to be decided tonight? Or can we put this off until we can match it up with this other and this other fee better?
Yeah, I wish I could say that I would have a fee scheduled to you by the next meeting. I can almost guarantee that won't happen.
Okay.
'Cause I just don't have the time to do that right.
So if we leave this fee, say for 3 months, is that going to give you enough time?
Oh, we're gonna be losing money.
Right.
We've got that highlighted.
Yeah, and this is the second highest permit count that we issue.
Okay.
So we are losing money every time we issue one of these permits. So, I mean, does it make sense to recognize the fact that whatever fee you set tonight may not be the final fee amount, but at least it pays for, it pays, it at least tries to pay for itself. That might make more sense.
Right. So I'd like to hear a motion that, well, let's discuss. Do you think 70? Do you think we should go right to 100 or 70 now?
No, I think that's fine. 70 is. Yeah, 70 is fine. I think.
it's fine.
Okay,
I think it's fair.
and 70 for reinspection.
Yes,
I just honestly, we should just, in our fee structure, any reinspection should just be the cost of the inspection. There should be a line item under there, that any
Are we paying our inspector to go out?
yeah. $35.
Okay.
My minimum reinspection fee in my office is $50 because the call needs to come into the office manager. She needs to dispatch it to the inspector. She also needs to capture that inspection on a payroll at the end of the month. So I think the reinspection fee minimum should be $50 across the board, as long as we're paying our per diem inspectors $35. I think even if you translate that into an hourly wage for a health agent, I still think that equates pretty close to what we would pay a health agent per hour.
One more time. When you go out for a reinspection, it's because they failed the first inspection. Is that correct?
That's typically why, yes,
Okay, or there's been a complaint.
correct.
Okay, so I don't think, I don't see any reason why that we shouldn't just say that $70 is another $70 when he has to go out back out a second time. It's almost as if you've done something wrong, it's sort of like a fine, but not really a fine. You're being held accountable.
Yeah, that's fine. Sure.
I can see both sides.
Yeah.
I can see your side and I can see your side that, all right, the $70, 35, it's for us to issue the permit. And 35 goes to the inspector. And if we were gonna send an inspector out again, maybe, okay. But I'm gonna let you guys make the motion because I can see both sides of what you guys are saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'll make a motion that we increase the temporary food permit to $70 for the first inspection. We're talking about keeping the $20 a day after, and then if there needs to be a reinspection due to failure, then it's another full first day fee of $70.
Okay, now. What we made was $70 for the first inspection. $70 would be for the permit plus one inspection.
Yeah, that first permit should
And
include
then,
that.
and then a reinspection.
That permit fee should include
Same
the first.
price.
I second that motion.
Aye.
Thank you.
Get that, Elizabeth?
Phew. It's gonna be a long meeting. We have to do all the fees.
We're gonna make Jim get prepared for that. All right, review, discuss, act. Reinstate the fee and remove the verbiage listed in the additional information, page 3 of the Board of Health fee schedule. Are you going to pretty much already cover that, right? Or
Yeah.
Yeah, we covered.
50% off the 501 eligibility for nonprofit organizations.
Right.
is it verbiage that you want?
Yeah, the statute, I read the statute. The statute actually says we cannot charge a fee for any nonprofit entity. So we're not allowed to charge a fee. So I don't know why we had that in our fee schedule because this is actually the CMR from the state that says if you're a nonprofit, that we're not able to charge a fee.
Okay.
So we don't have to give waivers.
We don't have to give waivers. We don't even know.
Omit that.
Automatic. If they are a true 501c3 and they prove to us they are, they won't be charged.
So we're gonna give them a free permit, but we're still gonna pay the inspection.
Yes. You can thank the state legislature for that.
Well, no, it's another reason that we need to have a little comfort zone on
Exactly.
these fees, because we're gonna be absorbing them on
Right.
several other
Right.
departments.
Yeah.
Well, those are the inspections down the road. If we hire a health agent, that the health agent does.
Right.
And we farm out, if they're busy, we farm out the ones that are.
Right. Right. Exactly.
So the only problem, like the couch festival, they had to be inspected on Saturday morning. So now we have a regular health agent doing that, we're paying them overtime.
Or flex time.
Yeah, and a lot depending on the person, or what our rule says is Todd, I believe, our last health agent would flex the time, but consider time and a half. In other words, if he worked a Saturday for 5 hours,
So that's, I mean, that's something for the job description and the hiring. That's something that we don't need to discuss.
I think it's simpler than that. We are advertising for a 25-hour health agent. If they work more than 25 hours, that would not be considered overtime. However, I feel that we are going to be held as a department to the 25 hours. So that's an operational thing where they will have to flex some time. If we know there's a Saturday inspection, they will have to flex some time during the week. So they have the hours available on a Saturday to get them done.
Yeah, but that's something we needed to discuss with the employer or the employee when we hire them.
Right.
And that's something that they can work out with their manager.
Good question for the interviews.
okay. Now, the review discuss acts of the animal regulations workshop.
You guys make a motion to remove it or we don't need to?
Oh, do we need?
We're removing both lines,
What's that?
both.
Yeah, we need to make a motion to remove those two lines.
I make a motion that we remove both of the lines in the additional information on page 3 of 3 that are highlighted with asterisks 2 and asterisks 3.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, review, discuss the act on the animal regulations workshop. We talked about, I know Patrick, you mentioned to Elizabeth that you were interested in being part of the workshop.
Yeah, I'll help. I mean, I had mentioned to Stacy that we need to get it going. I didn't realize, you had mentioned that we need to get everything going. So I'm happy to help. Let's get it going. I decided, I tried to look it up because I'd said it at the past meetings that I would try to get this going, but not kind of understanding it is kind of slowing me down. So if we could do a workshop with some suggestions, we can put it into writing and get it going.
Unless I had contacted Stacy last week, she came in Monday and we thought we could have maybe got it worked out, but it turned out that we really do need a workshop.
Okay.
I don't think the workshop has to be too many people. I think
Yeah,
To be involved in that.
I don't even think we
To
need,
be involved in that.
oh, okay, I was saying, I don't even think we need to have a workshop if it's just me, but if you, we can
I'd
schedule.
like to help.
Yeah, sure.
okay, now the only thing you both gonna be in the workshop, then it's gonna have to be posted.
Yeah. We just post it.
Okay.
We did the workshop with the budget. Was it the budget? No, the job descriptions. Yeah, we did the workshop with the job descriptions.
Okay, now,
We get them.
is that gonna be considered like a regular meeting?
I don't think it even needs to be posted 48 hours. I don't think it falls under that.
I think anytime we got a quorum. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it will have to be posted as a meeting,
right.
but you don't need to use the Roberts rules, that's why you call it a workshop.
Now, then,
So who from the ag side is, you can have someone from the ag side.
Don't be hard living.
so we might as well have all three of us here,
Mhm.
because, we're gonna need a chairman too.
Just want to caution. We have.
We're not gonna be,
Some too many
yeah, we're not gonna be voting on anything. We're just, so we don't need everybody there.
vote on, the whole committee to vote on it, it's just that. Sitting and doing the kennel bylaw, we had. It seemed like a little more people than we needed there, and. Different opinions, and then, you know,
Sometimes, I know, sometimes you get too many.
right,
Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all, let's just keep it as simple as possible, because you get through it a lot faster.
Well, if it's simpler to not have to post it as a town meeting, then I can back out and let you handle it, so.
What, yeah, because you wouldn't need to post it as a meeting.
Yeah, I'll be able to review it all later anyways. I mean,
Yeah.
And then.
just willing to give some help to it, but
Bring them to the meeting and we'll vote on them and review them and everything.
Yeah,
whatever's easiest at this point.
Yeah, let's
Yeah, well, if they're not included,
Yeah.
but just that,
No, I
once you
understand.
bring, you know, it in, then.
Yep,
Yeah.
regulation.
Laws. So,
Want to schedule that? I know Stacy said the 27th.
before we start,
I'm away until the 30th.
before we schedule, let's, get a motion on. Who's gonna be the members of the working group.
Stacy, me and Elizabeth.
So,
That-
in making a motion to have Stacy,
Yeah.
you and Elizabeth. Be part of the workshop for the animal regulations.
Yeah,
I second.
aye.
Hi.
Okay, you get that, Elizabeth? All right, awesome. Okay, the emergency meeting that we had last
We-
Monday.
We want to get a date for that.
A tentative date would be great, yes.
I'm back the 31st. Thursdays are better for me. But I can make it work, whatever.
Right now, I can do Thursday and third, from the 10th. That works.
Third works for you? Yeah, let's do the third.
Be ready for the next meeting. Yes. I'll have more time if we do it on the third to like type it all up. If we
Yeah,
do it on the
good.
10th, then I have to have it ready for the next Tuesday.
Right,
Yeah,
meeting.
let's do that. Are you good for the third, Stacy?
Yep.
Okay,
Sounds good.
whatever time works for you guys. I'm getting off at 7 AM, so anytime after 7.
Morning's usually better for me.
Okay. I'll be back in the area around 8:30. And do you guys want to do 9? Does that work? What time do you get in, Elizabeth?
7:30.
Okay.
We can use the conference room downstairs too.
Okay, yeah, 9 o'clock on the 3rd.
Fine.
Perfect.
Are you okay with me not being?
Absolutely. Joanne's gonna come in.
Yeah, I'd be glad to help, Elizabeth. Just let me know.
all right, the emergency meeting that we had on Monday. Was because we needed a burial agent, which we didn't have, with our clerk left a bit early. And again, Patrick made mention that he would be interested in being an additional burial agent. We appointed, what's Becky's last name?
No,
Mello, Becky Mello, was the town clerk to be a burial agent, but I think it's always better to have a backup. You know, if somebody dies, they need to get the certificates right away. And if she's on vacation, she's all sick, you know. I honestly didn't think that the death certificates needed to be done that quick, but I found out they really do.
Hmm.
That sometimes people come from out of town. Sometimes people need to deal with organizing things for the family and they need the death certificate right away.
Right, yeah.
So it is important. So I'd like to hear a motion to appoint Patrick McGovern as an additional burial agent.
I motion to appoint Patrick McGovern as an additional burial agent.
don't know if can I second my own appointing?
I'll step down a second if you don't want
Sure.
to. Okay, I'll step down and I'll second.
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations, you can bury the dead for us.
Sweet. I just gotta learn how to do it.
Okay.
Mostly Becky, because she's actually still trying to get like a login and
All right.
a signature, like it's been over a week.
Okay, also, I spoke with Larry Pinchel, so if you want to home. Okay, we're dealing with this, and he suggested use his name, call the clerk, and Rainham. I think her name's Rebecca, I can't remember her last name. But says she's very, very knowledgeable in all of it. As far as, he's been in the funeral business a long time, and he says she's very helpful. And feel free, if you need any information, call and say that Larry Pintel recommended that you call. Ask any questions, and possibly you can go up there and meet with her. That's a suggestion if you have any problem.
Would you say it was Rebecca?
Yeah, I'll find out and I'll let Elizabeth know so she can let me know. I'll clarify it. Okay, going down. All right, now, the review, discuss and act potential conflict of interest. Jim, you brought a few things to the light.
So in my current capacity assisting the health department, it's no secret that I own a long time septic inspection and consulting firm. So I wanted to make sure that I called the State Ethics Commission to see what my whether or not I could operate my company while holding this position, either on a temporary or a permanent basis. So I was informed that regardless of who owns my company, because I don't own it, that I'm not able to do inspections in the town of Dayton as long as I hold a position with the health department. So I'm here to let you know that I'm aware of that. I don't think it'll hinder my decision to potentially apply for this position permanently. So I'm willing to not operate my business in this community as long as I'm involved with the health department. I will tell you that I have a stack of reports on my desk like this that I'm a little behind on because of the July 4th holiday. So I think I might have one more report in my file for Dayton. But that inspection took place a few weeks ago. So I'll get it to you before the 30-day deadline. But once I talked to the State Ethics Commission last week, I have not done any more inspections in this town.
So that also goes to anybody else that holds mine.
Anyone else?
I also spoke to the Ethics Commission
Oh, did you?
when I got a seat on the board. It was recommended by the town administrator that I should call them.
Yeah.
And they also gave me the same advice, and I have turned down several jobs, including 2 that I had scheduled already, because they recommended I not do those as well. So
All right.
I actually got a call today that I referred out. I have a question. Is it ethical to refer it to somebody else that may have had a seat on the board in the past?
Well, I spent over an hour on the phone with them. Actually, it was almost 2 hours on the phone with them because I've been running this company for over 20 years. And a lot of people, to me, obviously, I get compensated for the inspections. But to me, I built such a name and reputation that I really felt bad that I would not be a resource anymore for some people. So I was really making sure that we got to the bottom of whether or not I could. And what they did tell me was that because we represent, or I represent the health department in this capacity, just like a board member would, that I cannot eat, sleep, or drink Title V unless it's in my official capacities. So that meant, yes, referring, anything, just stay away from it completely, because if you stay involved in that capacity, then you could be potentially still looked upon as having a conflict, because the people came to you to hire you and you now have given them to someone else. So essentially that was through you that they got that job. So because I want to retire here, so I did not want to put myself in a situation.
Well,
That would
that's
potentially-
we have a list of everybody that is licensed in the town.
Mhm.
And we don't make opinions. We just say, here's a list. You can-
So in the future, if somebody calls my business for a Dayton inspection, I should refer them to Elizabeth?
Yes. And
Yes.
When I first started,
And if somebody calls you for a Title V inspector, what do you say to them?
I just give them a list.
Okay.
People ask me if I could give them, reputations, and I can't.
Right,
Prove I taught that.
yeah,
It could hurt the department if I gave them a recommendation that they didn't. You know what I mean? That
understand, yeah,
It didn't work out as well, and it came back to us for, you referred me to them and.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
good. I'm glad we clarified that then.
That could come back because like,
Okay,
you get blamed for that.
I do have a request because I'm serious about this. And I am only holding this position in an interim level right now or acting level. I currently have a license with the Board of Health to conduct inspections. I would like the board to consider doing something with that license so that I do not have a valid license with the board, with the town, now that I know that it's a conflict. But I really don't want my license revoked or suspended because I didn't do anything to deserve that. And I don't know if I'm going to end up with the position permanently. So I may go back to my previous role, which there won't be a conflict.
I think,
understood. That would also affect me as well.
right, and I think the best thing to do was just be to put both of your license on hold.
Mhm.
Yeah.
On hold while you're in the position.
Mhm.
If for some reason you don't take the position, something happens to you, it'll come off the hold.
Okay.
The hold will only be in effect while you guys are. in.
Right. But I wouldn't want my business to be listed on the license holder list anymore. So,
Right, yeah, the same as me. Thank you.
okay.
You want to make a motion for that?
I don't think we need to. You're just addressing.
Well, I think we should make a motion that we are going to take both of your licenses and put them on hold.
I would like that. Yeah.
As well as anyone in the future that sits on the board or has something to do with the Board of Health.
Yeah, well, let's at least get this so it's on paper then. So I'll make a motion that we put the two inspection licenses on hold for the time being.
And any further, if somebody else joins the board that has them, they'll have to be on hold also.
Well, I would just do it for the two of you, because if we do it farther, that could be considered like a bylaw, or that could be considered like a board rule or something.
Okay.
I mean, we're voting on two specific licenses. If we say all licenses for the future, that could be considered like a.
Okay.
I don't know if it would be considered a bylaw, but it would be considered some kind of regulation to the Board of Health, which I don't know if we want to go down that road right now.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
So I would just say that the two licenses,
Okay.
A second.
aye.
And I guess
Thank you.
any items not reasonably anticipated with the product house. The only thing I'm going to say is you had mentioned the question, and I don't know the answer. I know that as a board member, if I were any one of us, if we would want to apply for, say, the health agent or the manager's position, we have to resign from the board, and I'm not sure the timeline. I think it's 6 months or a year before we can apply. In other words, we can't resign today and apply for the job tomorrow.
Right.
And I don't know if that has any effect on somebody that was previously on the board. I mean, obviously, if somebody who was on the board that's been gone for a year or 2 or 3 years, it wouldn't affect. And it might not even come into effect. It might only be working for them. But I think something that's worth looking into.
Mhm.
You know, that is,
I would like to readdress what Elizabeth read from Nurse Mello about the tablecloth that she needs at her.
yes,
functions.
that's right.
Is there a cost associated with that yet, Elizabeth?
Not yet.
Is that something we would need to ask for ahead of time?
She could just bring us a quote, right? I mean, I'm okay with her getting a quote for it and then we can vote on it.
And now are we looking for it to say Dayton Board of Health or Nurse Mello or,
I was reading, I thought of you. And
Yeah,
Oh,
oh, that would be good.
I mean, probably the town seal with like just Dayton Board of Health.
right.
Or public health
yeah.
or public nurse.
So that way, well, I mean, I would say, let's do something that's like Board of Health or Public Health or something, because that way it can stay in the office, and if Nicole takes out for something, that's fine. If
Good idea.
Paul takes out for something, you know, if Elizabeth does something, whatever, at least we have a generic one.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'd like to make a motion that we request quotes on the tablecloth from Nurse Mello.
I mean, we could also. I don't know. I mean, I know my Robert's rules from like the union votings, but I mean, we could even vote to say that she can spend up to $250.
Okay.
On not exceeding $250.
I don't.
At least that'll give her the green light to, but at least that'll give, if she sees something, she can get it. So she doesn't have to wait
Fund that comes from?
2 months. Yeah,
Yeah, it would come out of our operating budget.
Okay.
yeah. I mean, I make a motion that, you know, we allow Nurse Mello to spend up to, how much do you think they would run? I can't see there'd be more than $100.
Yeah, it depends on how she wants it printed.
So I'd say $250,
Yeah.
not to exceed $250.
Yeah, I'll say not to exceed that.
Yeah, so she can get quotes and spend up to not exceeding $250.
And I get places that I can send it to folks. So,
I second that motion.
Aye.
okay. And thanks for reminding me. 'Cause that's what there was one thing I remembered, I wanted to remember. I forgot. Any public input? Okay. I'd like to get a motion to approve the minutes for July 10th, 2023 emergency meeting.
One wasn't broadcast on cable because I was mistakenly recording it on the computer and not on the cloud. So the cable committee was not allowed to download it.
Oh.
So she was gonna come up here, she said she'd be here at 7, but I'm just gonna let her know to log in as Carrie to download it, and then she can upload the video.
Yeah, that discussion came up with Mike, we were in a meeting the other day. Evidently, some of the past meetings that we've had, they weren't going up into the cloud. They were going to computer here and over there. Did you figure out where the computer was? Did you look this afternoon?
It's right on the wall.
So you told me so. All right, so we know where it is. And yeah, that was just a mistake that moving forward, I think Elizabeth, you have it all set for today. So now all of our meetings are going right to the cloud. When they go to the cloud, the cable commission automatically sees them and posts them. Because we had one of our meetings that, because of some technical issues that Mike had held back.
Mhm.
And I thought that that's why all of ours being held back. And then he explained to me, Elizabeth looked into today, and she's working on, so as soon as she can get them from that computer, this computer, get them loaded up to the cloud, then they'll go on to YouTube.
Yeah, I was able to do July 10th off the memory because it was a permanent meeting.
Right,
And then the 27th was on YouTube, so I could do that one.
Yeah.
But we'll have to come back to the June 20th.
okay, so you don't want to, right, so for July 10th, the emergency. We approve the meetings for that minutes? I get a motion to. approve?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes for July 10th, 2023.
Second.
Aye.
Okay. Now, Elizabeth, what about the June 20th?
That
You
one's skip.
want to skip that one? Okay,
So I make a motion that we approve the minutes for December 27th, 2022, which was a regular meeting.
can we
Might not be able
make
to.
the motion that we skip that one first?
Okay, all right. I'd like to make a motion that we
Table it.
table June 20th, 2023, the regular meeting until our next meeting.
Second.
All right, so,
Now I make a motion that we approve the minutes dated December 27th, 2022, which was a regular meeting.
My only concern is that that's way out of
That was mine too.
So I think we just, I don't know if we can vote on it or just let it die, because we've gone down that path before. It's beyond 3 meetings or 30 days.
I agree. And that came today, but it's already on the agenda. And,
So should we just not vote on it?
well, it's already on the agenda.
I'd have to research something. There's gotta be something that allows you. Is there something that allows you to decline approval stuff that's on?
You just do,
December 27th, 2022 is well outside the ability to
don't motion on an item agenda,
just dies.
just dies on the agenda.
Okay, so,
Bring it back at another time. It just, there was no motion.
okay,
Yeah.
so I'll withdraw my motion.
Okay, perfect. I was gonna say, we've already been down that road.
Right.
You gotta approve meeting minutes within either 3 meetings or 30 days.
Okay,
So if you can go beyond 30 days if your meetings are longer.
Okay, yeah.
That's, we already got a complaint on that.
okay, thank you.
Any of the ones from last year.
Leave them. I mean, if we have them to transcribe and save, but we can't post them.
Agree with that, yeah?
Make a motion,
I don't know otherwise, so.
make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Aye.
aye.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Yeah. 5:36.
Yeah.